Hey guys, look, no smoke. Yay! Yay. Actually, there's smoke way up high. Let me show you the sun. There's the sun. So there's smoke way up there. Look at that brown in the sky there. But not over this way. This way it's more blue. A little bit of brown up there, but there's none down here in the valley. But anyways, I wanted to do a quick garden tour. Not everything, because it would take forever, but I wanted to just do a quick one of a few things that I promised that I was going to do. And the first thing I wanted to do was start off with the 10 by 10 project. And let's go inside here. And I did do a kind of an update, not really an update, just kind of a quick. It was kind of cheesy. I just showed you from like 80 feet back and did a zoom in, and I promised that I was going to do one here. So let me put it on the tripod. Okay, so we'll go inside here. Oh, check this out. Check this out. This is a charred madrone leaf. So this came from like a couple miles, 2 or 3 miles that way. That's yeah, charred madrone leaf. So let's go on inside now. You're on the tripod, so I don't think you'll get sick. Maybe you will for a second. All right, till I get you settled down here. Okay, so I'm going to start with failures. The absolute first failure was the center bucket here. I put an indeterminate, it's the only indeterminate in here. I put it in this bucket here. So now I would never grow an indeterminate in a 5-gallon bucket in the top. And so what did I do? I went and put the indeterminate in a 5-gallon bucket upside down. And so it just is not enough soil to be able to handle the kind of root system that these kind of plants desire. And then I went and put the lemon cucumber in the top, and it just ended up being a major fail. The lemon cucumber and the indeterminate tomato were just fighting for nutrients, and they just didn't get enough. I even went as far as to actually fertilize this, and it still wasn't enough to rejuvenate that cucumber. And the tomato plant started getting disease too. It just I think there are a couple things that are going on. Not just the fact that there's just not enough soil for it to handle a cucumber plant and an indeterminate. It's the fact that one of the cardinal rules of growing tomatoes is do not let the plant get wet. In other words, don't overhead water. Always water at the root. Well, what's happening when you water these, the water is coming out the hole and it's going down the stem, and it's like watering the whole plant. You just can't get away from that. And so I think that's one of the major drawbacks of growing in the upside down tomato planter. So this ended up being an absolute total fail. And so, which is okay, you know, this is a learning experience. Never grow an indeterminate, and don't put anything in the top. And so let me go over here to the other 2 buckets, which were kind of a success. One of them was, and one of them was kind of halfway a success. Let me turn you this way. Okay, so the bucket over here didn't turn out too bad, actually. This is a determinate hybrid, and look at the cluster of tomatoes on here. And there's a big cluster here and here, and so this has been prolific. But this is a hybrid that I'm dehybridizing, and this actually is an F4. The tomatoes on it are actually pretty good. They're really tasty. And now the fail of this is, again, in the top. I have a baby pepper, and it just has not done much. I haven't gotten anything hardly from it. It's got a couple baby peppers, but they're all curled up, and the tail and the head are meeting each other, so they're kind of, it's just completely deformed. And I think it's running into the same problem. When you water in these buckets, it's running down, it's taking the nutrients away from this because it's all coming out the bottom. So when the roots for the plants in top of this go look for water, they're not going to find it because the water has already come through, gone out, dripped down the plant, the tomato plant, and then made its way completely out, and the plant on top is going, what the crap, what's going on? Now, there may be some people that are doing this because some people recommended that I plant in the top of these, and maybe they've had success. These 2, both of them are a fail. The top here. Now the bottom here, this actually ended up pretty good. A little bit of yellowing, but that's to be expected because this is the end of its life. It's a determinate, and so it's on its way out the door. Now let's go over to this bucket here. Oh man, that's a good tomato. Okay, this plant here is the greatest success of the three. And this is also a hybrid that I am dehybridizing. This is an F3. A lady gave them to me, and she said that it was a hybrid, and she didn't know anything about the name or whatever, but she liked the flavor, and so she gave me some of the seeds, and this is the 3rd year that I've been growing it. And actually that would make it an F4, wouldn't it? And I'm just blown away by the taste. Now, this isn't so much about the growing method here because it was a success in this bucket, but the fact that this is the best tasting cherry tomato I've ever had. People that have watched my channel know that the Northern Delight and the Matt's Wild Cherry are 2 of my favorite, but this one beats them both, in my opinion, hands down. So I'm hoping that when this stabilizes, the flavor is going to stay. What I'm going to do is I have a bunch of these saved, and I'm going to be saving the seeds from them, and I'm going to be giving them away in a seed giveaway here very soon. And so I want you to be watching for that because I'm going to be giving them away with a caveat. The caveat is that we don't know what we're going to get from them until they stabilize. So it's going to be a few more years. So if you're into like to grow mystery kind of plants and want to give these a shot, you're going to be blown away, in my opinion, by the taste of these if the flavor stays. We don't know what we're going to get next year, but we're going to keep growing them out. So if you're interested in growing a mystery tomato with excellent flavor, then this is the one that you're going to want to try. So stay tuned for that. I'll be giving these away once they're all dried and ready to be given out. So I won't dwell on that much longer. So let's go over to the corner over here. Okay, so we start over here. This is these are 2 strawberry plants that my daughter gave me for Father's Day, and I put them in really late. And because of the smoke, I haven't done anything with them. It started to put runners down. I didn't put anything like rocks or anything on them to try to propagate the runners. So I've kind of left them alone. They're not going to do much at all this summer, and then they'll start up again next spring. So not much going on with that. And then we move to the right. So this is the lemon cucumber that I grew at the same time as the one up in the bucket there. And this one, I've been cutting it back so it hasn't like been flopping over, but it still is. But it's kind of taking over this area right here, and I'm kind of trying to keep it from encroaching on the watermelon, but it hasn't been working too well. But there's still a few. This one here is almost ready to be picked. There are some baby ones in here. I probably have harvested about 10 just off this plant, and I'm still getting more. Even though it's getting toward the end of its life, it still wants to keep putting out. And then we move a little bit to the right, and we have the golden midget, I believe it's called, watermelon. And this here is at the end of its life. It's trying to crawl out out of the project here. And this, of course, it's all yellow and died back. I have harvested, I think, 4 of these that were much bigger than this, probably about 3 or 4 pounds. And these, I've just let them go, and this is almost yellow enough to pick. Now the beauty of this here, I love these because they're actually 1 serving for a person. They end up being about 3 pounds or so, about twice this big. And you sit down and you cut one of these up, and it's good for 1 sitting for 1 person. You don't have any left over. You don't have to put it in the fridge and whatnot. The only drawback to this golden midget is that it has a lot of seeds in it. So if you don't like a lot of seeds in your watermelon, then this is not the one to grow. But this plant is also toward the end of its life here. So hopefully these will get big enough to be able to pick. Hopefully it's drawing enough nutrients. So let's go to the right here. This is I think I mistakenly said that this was the zucchini, And actually, I think it's the Punakira. And it also keeps trying to escape its cage. And I have to keep cutting this back. This has been putting out. I actually harvested 4 of these already. And this one's getting close. It'll get completely brown. This is just a runt. But I'm going to go ahead and harvest that anyways. Didn't make it very far. But I did harvest about 4 of these this size. And it's a really good tasting cucumber. Okay, and then this bed here with the 4 tomato plants. Nothing exciting about these, just regular old tomato plants. I've been harvesting quite a bit. Every day I come out and probably harvest, well, 3 of these are large cherries. And then one of them is a small basket type tomato. It gets a little bit bigger than this one here. Not a lot though. And nothing happening with that one yet. So it's a late bloomer, I guess. But the other ones, all the 3 of these cherries, that's a teardrop, kind of like aroma. I've been picking those. And then over there, that is a queen, a white, not the white queen, but that one there I was not impressed with. That was actually a spitter. I didn't care for those at all. I actually ate one of them and ended up spitting it out. So I will not grow that again. That is a white Roma, I think is what it's called. Not too impressed. Down here we have that dill plant. I actually bought that dill plant when it was just a baby. And I've been growing that for a few months. And it actually went to seed. I saved the seeds and I will replant that. I do have some new shoots coming up down there. So I'm going to cut those off, let the new ones grow. And that'll go in the greenhouse for the winter. But that I've been harvesting dill off that thing. And I've been eating dill all summer long. And then we move over to the center one here. Okay, so in the center, there I had one there that was Aunt Gertie's Gold. It didn't make it. It was one that was in a pot, and the pot fell over, and it ended up, the stem actually ended up getting weak. I tried to bring it back to life. Didn't make it, so that's why there's an empty spot there. I have carrots, purple carrots here. Okay, and then this plant here is shading these purple carrots. And carrots do not like to be shaded. And I did not anticipate this doing this, because in years past, this one here, which is called Yellow Rhetus, was actually kind of a little bit taller, and it had more of a crown to it. But this year it decided to just sprawl, probably because the carrots were here, and so it just wanted to give me a hard time. But this one here also I've been picking regularly, and this is a good tomato also. So let's go over to here. Next to the door. Okay, so next to the door we have more purple carrots. They're doing really well. I've been thinning them and eating them. Okay, and then next door, this is another cucumber that is called, now it's some weird foreign name again. But anyways, it's this one here is at the end of its life. I only got 3 out of it. And then I've got a 4th one here and one that's trying to grow. Don't know if it's going to actually make it to maturity. But this one here has died back. It's done its job. I got, I think, well, 4 or 5 off of that. And it's at the end of its life. And goodbye. And then moving right, I have the Cipollini onions, which are doing okay. They're not as large as they normally would be when I've grown them in the South Garden. But they're doing all right. They're mediocre. And then we move right, and we have the Japanese long pepper. And these are kind of cool. I like these Japanese longs because they're good for like one serving, and you can just cut one up and put it in like a taco or something like that. And it's a very prolific plant. It grows. I mean, I've picked a bunch of peppers off that already, and it still just keeps putting out flowers and more peppers, so that's a keeper. Okay, and then we move right, and we have the Black Beauty zucchini. You'll notice there's one here. I picked 2 off of this already that were actually half again this large. It was just huge, taking over the bed. But I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 more growing on here, with more flowers actually putting out of that one there. And then the one back here has got 1 on it, and that's it. And that's the same age. I planted these. I actually planted the seeds at the same time. And these 2 came up at the same time, but yet this one overtook But I mean, it's that way with when some people have children, right? They have children, one of them's a marathon runner, and one of them is got the flu every year. So you just don't know. So this is just the way it is, and that's the way plants are sometimes. So, but I've been picking regularly, very healthy plant, and I really love this. This is my zucchini. I love zucchinis. And last but not least, we have the Hungarian sweet pepper. And I just love this pepper. This is awesome. And love that pepper. So that's it so far with the 10 by 10 project. Now let me take you, since I'm right outside the north garden, I'll just give you a shot real quick in the north garden. So there's nothing exciting on this end of the garden. The dwarfs are still putting out. I've just been getting bushels of tomatoes out of the dwarf tomato project. And so it was a great success for me. But a lot of them are, you can see they're getting yellow. They're getting toward the end of their life. And so it's going to be time to just kind of say goodbye to them. Okay, and this jalapeno here is from the 7-year-old jalapeno plant that I grew. And I have a video on that. And this is my favorite jalapeno because it's an early, and nothing kills this thing. This is like, well, actually I shouldn't say that. How that 7-year jalapeno died was I left it to somebody to take care of while I went out of town, and at their house aphids got it. So I shouldn't say nothing attacks it, but for me, I've never had a problem with it, and it just keeps on. I never even have to fertilize this thing, and so I pick them, I eat them, and then save the seeds, and then I just keep on growing it, pain-free, and it does well for me. So, and here I've got the spaghetti squash here, and on these two plants, believe it or not, I've got 11 spaghetti squash so far. And you'll know when they're ready because they actually will be green for a long time, and then they'll go yellow. And once they go yellow, it's time to pick them. I've got 1, 2, 3, 5 more to pick. Okay, so this brown turkey fig, I don't remember if I showed this, but I got this about 2 years ago in the mail, and it was unhealthy. It was broken, and I really thought that it was actually meant for the compost pile. But the people that I got it from offered to replace it, and I said, well, how about why don't you send me a different one, a different variety? So they did, and I've nursed this back to health, and just this year now, it decided to take off, and this thing is 6 feet tall now, and so I'm really impressed with this. So it actually did end up surviving, and I resuscitated it, and it's doing really well in this large pot, and eventually it's going to go into a big bed. Well, that's probably long enough. I could be out here all day showing you everything, but you would just be absolutely bored with it all. My walking onions are doing good. The new panel boxes that I built, I'll actually be showing those soon in a video because I'm going to be building another one of these raised beds. They're 2 feet tall, and they're made with galvanized roofing. And so I'll be doing another one of those, and I'll bring you along for that. I'm going to be doing that soon. But everything else is doing really well. I didn't show you the Opelka and the Mariana's Peace. They're doing good. But I just wanted to wrap this up, and it's long enough now. This thing is going to be like 20 minutes. But I went so long without doing a video that I had a lot to show you guys. One last thing that I did want to show you. Okay, this here is called Gold Rush Currant. Now this normally will get 5 feet, 6 feet tall. But what happened was you have to keep the currant tomatoes away from your regular tomatoes, otherwise they will cross. The currant is notorious for crossing with other varieties, and so this is completely on the other side of the house. But what happened was the deer like to come through, and they like to eat this. And so I move it to another place, and I think, okay, the deer don't come through here, and doggone it if they don't keep finding this thing. But yet, even during its annihilation, it still keeps putting out. I've been coming through every day and picking a handful of these currant, Gold Rush currant tomatoes, and it still keeps producing. But anyways, the deer love it too, so I've been sharing this currant tomato plant with the deer. So anyways, this is another, it's not really a fail, it's my own fault for leaving it out, and I should put a cage around it, but I'm not going to. Yeah, I don't mind sharing it with the deer. But I just love those currant tomatoes because they're small enough to just kind of pop in your mouth. They're sweet and they kind of taste like candy. So, I love those things. But anyways, that pretty much, I mean, that kind of sums up. That's actually about, I know that's not an awful big tour. It's not everything, but it's the garden is just too big to show it all. But there it is so far. And stay tuned because I'll be working on the new grow beds or the new raised boxes, and I'll bring you along for that. All right. So anyways, also stay tuned for the giveaway on the cherry tomatoes. All right. So thanks a lot for watching, guys, and we'll catch you later.